Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. I am not muted. The signal without the slop. And I'm your host, Phil. I hope you guys had a great evening. And of course, we're going to take a look at all the news. Yeah, I don't know why my green screen is like that. Give me a second. Let me fix it up for all y'all. I don't know why it did that, but that's okay. It's all part of the fun, right? Okay, anyways, let's dive into what we're going to be looking at today. Wait, hold on. Let's see here. Good morning. Good morning, John. Good morning, Original Shed Boy. Good morning, Bitcoin Shango. All right, Plankton. That's right, Bitcoin. Oh, yes. No, don't worry. I've got John. Don't worry. Plenty of slop, but it's signal slop, right? So figure out what that is. Okay, anyways. So here we go, guys. The OGs have stopped dumping, right? We're gonna obviously. I've got a chart that is going to show us how the OGs have stopped dumping, and now we're supposed to be happy. So I'm pleased with that. We've got Bitcoin's adoption path. We're gonna take a look at that. Some hodler momentum stuff should be interesting. Ghana Bitcoin, right? There was some news about how Ghana is going to be, essentially incorporating Bitcoin into their financial system and all that stuff. And of course, right, you actually dig through the article, it's not so much what's happening. And we're going to take a look at that. JP Morgan, right? Of course, bending the knee further. But we're going to dive into that story too, because while, there's a lot of Hopium cheerleaders that are telling you that, hey, the banks are here and JP Morgan's bending the knee, there's a little bit of mystery right there. And yeah, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin mining snowmelt system, which I think is pretty cool. Anyways, before we dive into all that fun stuff, though, that's exactly right, Ryan. That's not exactly that's not what my background looks like. Yeah, I don't actually live in this green screen lab. But yeah, anyways, before we dive into all the fun stuff, you know the deal. We're going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium. And we are going to be right back to dive into all the fun and all the hopium. Let's go.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. All right. We're going to kick it off with, here we go, the short-term hodler momentum. That's right, guys. All you got to do is zoom out. Essentially 4 consecutive months of negative momentum for short-term hodlers. This too shall pass. Euphoria shall return, and the animal spirits do cometh. This is not an endorsement for any type of animal sacrifice or anything like that. Okay, just pointing that out. All it is just a chart. Zoom out, take a look, and you know what? I'm going to say that begrudgingly, maybe this time it's different. No. Maybe it is. Maybe this time it is different. But I will say that I am pleased by seeing the higher lows on this. Right? I'll take it. I will take the higher lows on this. No problem. That is some solid hopium. There you go. Got a little zoom in on the chart so we could see it a little better. I mean, come on, guys. 74K, then we peaked at 108, then we peaked at 126, then look at the bottoms. 49, 74, 82. Are we really convinced that this is over? Or is it just a whole bunch of people that sold because a clock told them to? I don't know. Anyways, the OGs, guys. Here we go. Here's the chart. The chart that shows it all here from Frank. Sell pressure from long-term hodlers appear to be easing. Okay? It appears to be easing. So, yeah, we talked about this last night on Bitcoin Tonight. If you focus too much, right? If you focus too much on who's selling and who's buying, you're going to actually forget to stack because you're going to be so busy dealing with drama and nonsense. Okay. The reality is that there are people constantly buying and selling. That's how a market works. Okay. So even though there's, there's that narrative about the OGs. And I still remember 6 months ago, right? I think it was like 6 or 8 months ago, somebody was saying, oh, the principled OGs are selling. I think that, you know what? I could be wrong. It was like a year ago. Maybe it was when ordinals started getting minted or something like that. And somebody was, I forget who it was, they were, I think it was actually Jimmy Song that was talking about how the principled OGs were selling. And then we went on to, to make new all-time highs a few months later. So it just, nobody knows, right? And I'm not saying I know either, but I'm just saying it's like, it doesn't matter, right? He doesn't know either. It's just funny. It's just funny that these people, they take this stuff with, like that it's gospel. It's like, really? Who is selling? I could tell you, I know a few OGs, none of them are actually selling. However, I do know some people who came to Bitcoin after 2020, and they've been really quick and vocal to talk about how quickly and how much they've sold. So, hey, maybe that anecdotal piece of information should end up as some type of Bitcoin fact, Hey, Matthew, good to see you. Hey, happy Merry Christmas, Andy. Thank you guys for joining. Phil, welcome. What's going on here? Matthew, what's going on? What's going to zero? Oh, okay, yeah, fiat. Yes, correct. Okay, I was getting worried there. I thought you were talking about Bitcoin. I'm like, what? No way. Yeah, there you go, Matthew. Hit the nail on the head, right? It's a bunch of paper nonsense, right? People aren't selling Bitcoin. They're selling derivatives that put pressure on the spot Bitcoin price. Absolutely. Right? And these institutions like the ETFs that have to hold Bitcoin, right? Well, guess what? When they're, what's it called? They're the APs, right? Those approved participants, right? When they sell, well, guess what? The ETFs have no choice but to go and sell Bitcoin. Unless, of course, the approved participant decides to take custody of their Bitcoin, right? So that's, yeah, it's unfortunately, it's a whole lot of shenanigans. It really is a whole lot of shenanigans. All right, it's okay here. More Hopium, guys. We're still early, and I saw Keith Weiner. I think he's a gold bug or something like that. Anyways, this guy shows up during every bull run and cries about Bitcoin. No different, of course. This bull run, he's still banging the right. It's the exactly banks. It's the same shit every cycle. They show up, they cry about Bitcoin, blah blah blah. So here we go, right? Send this to people who think you're late to buy Bitcoin. And he freaked out on this yesterday because he's like, there's no adoption. No one actually uses Bitcoin and all this stuff. It's like, well, believe it or not, I get paid in Bitcoin and I pay for the stuff that I get done for the show, right? Like any of the intro videos or anything that's been made for the show gets paid in Bitcoin, right? It's a medium of exchange. And I attempt to use it as such as often as possible. Right. So this whole idea that nobody actually uses it or anything like that, like it's just typical FUD from people like him. But again, right, let's just zoom out. Right. Zoom out. And this is what 3% adoption looks like, guys. Look at where we are. Look at where we are in that cycle. Now, for those of us, like I can tell you, right, like talking about online banking, internet in 1990. Look, how old was I in 1990? I was like 11 or 12 years old. Okay. Believe me when I tell you this, the average person didn't think that they were going to be necessarily using a computer in their home, right? Sure, there were some people that did think they were going to, but the majority of people were just thinking that it was a passing fad, right? And there were other people that saw through it and understood what it really meant. So again, we're having the same type of behavior with Bitcoin, right? There's some of us that can extrapolate looking at Bitcoin and see what it means going into the future. Whereas there's other people that say, hey, look, this is just a gimmick and it ends. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm here for the journey. So let's freaking go. 3% adoption. We've got a whole long way to go. A very long way to go. All right, JP Morgan exploring crypto trading for institutional clients. But is that the whole story? Is that the whole story, guys? While the plans remain in early stages and depend on client demand, the development shows accelerating institutional adoption across traditional finance as regulatory clarity improves and market infrastructure matures. JP Morgan's markets division is evaluating what crypto products and services could be offered to institutional clients, according to the Bloomberg's report. The assessment includes both spot trading and derivatives offerings, though concrete plans have not been finalized and will depend on sufficient client demand for specific products. This is the interesting part, though. The bank declined to comment on the report, which even Reuters could not independently verify. It's like this whole entire article about how JP Morgan's going to be offering this stuff to their client. Nobody could confirm this. Nobody can confirm any of this. And of course, right, it's not that I think they're not going to offer these services. Of course they are. Of course they're going to offer these services, right? But JP Morgan is just going to bend the knee very slowly and painfully, as always. No surprise. Okay. Ghana, right? I'm sure you guys saw this one. Ghana passes law to legalize the use of Bitcoin and crypto. Bullish rockets. Boom. Here we go. Yeah. So, speaking at the annual 9 Lessons, Carols, and Thanksgiving service held at the Bank Square on December 19th, 2025, Dr. Asema explained that the move goes beyond legal recognition, describing it as a critical step towards strengthening regulation and supervision within the financial sector. These are not just legal milestones. They are enablers of better policy, stronger supervision, and more effective regulation. Effectively, virtual asset trading is now legal, and no one is going to be arrested for engaging in crypto. But we now have the framework to manage the risks involved. Hey, good morning, Silent Lamb. So, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Asema, has emphasized the importance of safeguarding, right? Because what were we just looking at, guys? You remember the, yay, Ghana, Bitcoin. Nope, got nothing to do with Bitcoin, guys. Because the sauce is never in the beginning of the article. The sauce is always somewhere in the middle or towards the end or in another linked article. So, Dr. Johnson Asema has emphasized the importance of safeguarding the SETI. Oh, look, that doesn't sound like Bitcoin at all. What is the SETI? Obviously, it's currency, right? Because it's all about their own stable coins. It's all about their local currency. Oh, it's such a fucking charade. Anyways, delivering remarks at the SETI International Currency Conference held in Accra on November 18th, right? The day before he talked about this happy Bitcoin crypto stuff, Dr. Asema highlighted ongoing efforts to modernize Ghana's payment systems and develop the SETI. Not Bitcoin, SETI. While re-anchoring the national currency to resist pressures from currency substitution and dollarization. That's right. Ghana is going to try to fight all these other currencies. It's like, yep, Mando, that's exactly what it is. And good morning, by the way. It always is. It's and this is what pisses me off so much. It's, it's always this constant orange washing and then never giving any accurate information. It's just such nonsense. All right, eternal paper Bitcoin. That's right. That's how, you know what? Let's pull up the chart on this steaming train wreck. American Bitcoin board member Richard Bush purchased. I wonder if he's related to any of the Anheuser-Busches. If he is, then he doesn't need this shit. Purchased 175,000 of ABTC shares for $290K, raising his stake to about 900,000 shares worth about 1.4 million. Oh yeah, Erebor. Yeah, that's Peter Thiel's machine. And so is the Bullish exchange, right? It's interesting, Matthew. You mentioned Erebor because the interesting part about that is, of course, and I reported on this in a previous episode, right? He came out with that. He came out with that after he helped dismantle Signature and SVG Bank. Right. So it's like these guys, they see the playing field. Right. And then he's like, all right, well, I want more for me. So boom, Signature and SVG down the toilet they go. And bang, 2 years later, Erebor fits the exact business needs that SVG and Signature Bank were doing. What a coincidence. Such a coincidence. All right, let's take a look at ABTC just for the sake of it, right? Let's just take a look at ABTC for the sake of it. Because you know me, I always like to pull up these charts. I always like to see what they've done to everyone. Okay. So, oh, look at that. Look at that. Talk about share dilution, right? If you re-reversed all their shares, each share would be worth $140,000. All right, let's go see what they've done to shareholders. In 2022, if you had 20 shares, they gave you back 1, right? Then they did it again in February of 2024. If you still managed to have 20 shares, they gave you back 1 for those 20. And then finally, they did a 1 for 5. So if you had 5 shares, you got 1. They just absolutely decimated their shareholders. Just decimated the shareholders. So, Richard, I hope you've got another stream of income, because I would not go near these guys. But again, right, he's an insider, right? He's on the board of directors. So he probably knows something I don't know, you know? And I'm not saying that as advice that you should go buy this thing. Nope. I am not touching this piece of crap. I don't care. And I don't suggest anyone else do. But hey, to each their own, right? And there's no crying in the casino. And that works both ways, right? Works both ways. For people like me who miss out on stuff because I won't touch sketchy crap. Yep. I'm not allowed to cry in the casino about missing out on stuff. But guess what? When you buy crap like this and it goes to zero and it doesn't become generational wealth and instead it becomes generational poverty, you're also not allowed to cry in the casino. So, yeah. All right. The Bitcoin mining snow melt system. Yeah, let's take a look at this thing, right? This is pretty decent. So, uses waste heat of the computers to warm a concrete walkway via a hydronic loop. Here, 3 kilowatt S19 Pro 110T runs in a fog hashing C1 immersion tank, heating fluid that melts snow and keeps the garage warm. Nearly silent. Very well done. I got to tell you, when I lived up in New England, I would have absolutely loved to have one of these. Wouldn't even have thought twice. I definitely would have wanted that, but that's okay. I have no more need for that, and I am definitely not complaining. Let's take a quick look here. They also did a little video so we can watch this. Ah, yes. Very nice. Very nice. Very fun. As a computer geek, I always enjoyed server rooms. Always enjoyed the server racks. Not going to lie, though, that noise, I know that a lot of people, especially Bitcoiners, right, they're super happy when it, when they hear that sound, and that's the sound of proof of work. And I don't disagree with any of that stuff. But when you've spent as much time in a server room listening to those fans, it gets tiring. You don't really want to hear it anymore. Yeah, proof of work, and I get it. Yeah, it is. It's totally a few years old. I was just showing it because it's just cool stuff, right? It's not that it was like some new breakthrough or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, like that's what's going on, guys. That's pretty much it for today. Gonna be back tomorrow, right? Same time, 12:10 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to dive into all of the freaking disasters and drama that seem to happen in the next 24 hours. No, I'm kidding. There shouldn't be any disasters and drama because guess what? All the markets are closing. But as we know, Bitcoin doesn't close. So maybe we can all just sit back and enjoy some family time, right? Enjoy some family time for the people that are doing it. Otherwise, guys, have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.